So today will be full of great presentations. And the first one will be about the Algerian startups ecosystem that will be presented by His Excellency, the Minister of Knowledge, Economy, Startups, and Micro Enterprises. Oh my God. Dr. Yacine Oualid, please welcome on stage. Give him a huge round of applause.
شكرا سلمى سيد وزير الاقتصاد المعرفة والمؤسسات الناشئة والمؤسسات المصغرة. يتفضل مشكورا سيد ياسين الوالد. نحن على المباشر على قناة المعرفة، فليتفضل ولك كل المسرح. فأعطيك الميكرو. نعطي لك تاعو ولا تاعي؟ أوكي.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bureaucrats in the place. So just to be clear, this conference is the least interesting one today. So I was asked to do a conference about the Algerian startup ecosystem. And the guidelines were it has to be in English, it has to be short, and I have to be straight to the point. So I will do my best to meet the guidelines. Since the creation of the ministry, our main goal was to build a healthier startup ecosystem. And by startup ecosystem, I mean Algeria, since the last two years, started a new, a paradigm shift to move from an economy that was in the past strongly dependent on hydrocarbons to an economy that is more dependent on human capital. And we have been doing this through a new comprehensive legislative and regulatory framework, and by also providing incentives to innovative people to have them to go from ideas to startups. So the first thing we worked on since the creation of the ministry is a new legal framework for startups, and especially for early stage startups and for innovative project holders. So we have introduced the legal definition of the what is a startup, and we have this also starting to attribute what we call a label, which is a document that helps startups to get incentives. These incentives can be tax exemptions, funding from the government, and also support to help them to go from the idea to the startups. We introduced, as I said, the startup label with a, I would say, a general definition of what a startup can, what you can define as an innovative startup, and we made everything possible through a single web portal called startup.dz. So everything that the ministry is doing today can be accessed through a web platform called startup.dz. We are providing a huge number of incentives, and the objective is to show how the government is helping innovative people to start their projects. So we are doing our best to give tax exemptions, and I'm very proud to say that Algerian startups don't pay, I think, any tax for the 5 first years, and the goal is to help them to grow faster and to be less in contact with bureaucrats like me. Very recently, we also introduced a new law for the digitally enabled new forms of work, the so-called content creators, and all the new, I would say, people that the new jobs that have been created in a digitally enabled economy. So we had the law adopted at the Parliament last week and signed by the Mr. President of the Republic. The self-contractor or self-employed law, auto-entrepreneur, for those who knows. The goal is to have a very flexible legal framework for people working from home. They can be web developers, freelancers, people working in graphic design, web marketers. They can be also people working in the ride-hailing industry, in the last mile delivery industry. And all these new jobs created by startups, the new law will enable them, will have them to get incentives an easy-to-go legal framework with a single also web portal and a card that will help them at the end of the day to have the social security and to contribute to the national economy. So this has been a huge demand from especially from young people, and we are very proud to have such a, I would say, a disruption in the legal framework in Algeria. Very recently, in the last financial law, we introduced new incentives for research and development. So all the companies investing in research and development, 30% of the investment are deducted from their taxes. And the goal is to push the companies to invest more in the R&D. And we have KPIs. You know, I'm from our ministry. Most of the people, folks I worked with are from the private sector, and we love to talk about KPIs, key performance indicators. And one of our KPIs is to reach 3% of the GDP expenditure in R&D by 2030. And we will be doing this by putting a lot of incentives in the legal frameworks to push the companies in Nigeria to invest more in the R&D, in research and development. So we introduced incentives for R&D, but we also introduced incentives for open innovation, because it is a global trend, because we believe that innovation tends to come rather from outsiders, from startups, small teams, than big corporates. And because we believe that open innovation can really boost the research and development sector in Algeria. So we introduced also a set of incentives for companies that externalize their research and development work with startups, with incubators, or even with research centers. We are also making it easier to sell digital products thanks to the work of the central bank, which is hopefully helping people to export digital goods from their homes. So it is really a paradigm shift in the way we interact with people that can export things outside of Algeria. So we will, by the end of the day, our goal is to have more to export to the rest of the world than just oil and gas. And we want to export knowledge, which is the main reason we are doing this. Very recently, we also modified the commercial law, which is a very old law, by introducing a new legal framework, a new form of companies for startups. And the goal is to get out of the previous orthodoxy in the legislation and the incorporation of companies by helping startups to value the immaterial contribution in the capital, because immaterial contribution is very important when we talk about startups. And also very recently, it's the first time we are talking about this subject. We are opening up a new world of possibilities for fintechs. And we believe that the fintech sector is the next unicorn industry in Algeria. And we are providing new possibilities for the fintech sector through the new monetary law, which is a very, very important law. So the new monetary law that has been recently approved by the government opens completely new possibilities for the fintech sector. We talk about payment service providers, things like PayPal, Skrill, and that's why, and this kind of companies. Digital banks operating entirely online, and most of you, I believe know many of them. And in the new law, we are even talking about an Algerian digital dinar, which is a huge disruption in the legal framework of the monetary sector in Algeria. So we believe that this new law will open a new world of possibilities for fintechs, and it's up to you to innovate and to find solutions to make payments easier, to help banks to provide a more innovative solution for their customers, and also to create solutions for the new digital currency. Funding. So because we believe that funding is very important, like we said in French, c'est le nerf de la guerre. So we are also providing a new framework for corporate venture capital. In this year's financial law, we are encouraging corporate ventures by making it possible for companies to entirely deduct their investment in startups from their corporate taxes. So the goal is to encourage private sector to invest more in innovation and in startups. And what we are saying to the big corporation, when you invest in startup, everything you invest is taken out from your taxes. Equity crowdfunding is also very important. It has been introduced in 2020 with the help of the Stock Exchange Regulatory Authority, the COSOB. And the goal is also to help startups to raise money easily, especially that crowdfunding is something very cultural in Algeria, Twiza and stuff like that. So crowdfunding has now its own legal framework. We have also the managing director of Algeria Startup Fund, who is here. So the Algeria Startup Fund is a newly created venture capital company which invests in early stage startups. It invests from 5 million dinars to 150 million dinars. So it invests in dollars from $25,000 to $1 million in each startup, and it takes usually 5% from its equity to 34%. So the goal is to make it easy for startups to get easy access to capital, especially the early stage startups. And we don't want to have only Algeria Startup Fund as the only way for startups to raise money, but today Algeria Startup Fund is doing an incredible job in helping early stage startups to get access to capital. And many of the startups that have been funded by the ASF, the Algeria Startup Fund, are currently real success stories. We are also making it easy to create VCs, because in the past creating VCs was a little bit complicated. So we made the administration, the management of private equity companies easier by removing certain traditional rules, and also by introducing a new legal framework. And we are also providing incentives for that. Last year, we also started something we call the Patent Support Program. So because we believe that intellectual property should be accessible to all, especially young project holders. So for this reason, we have allocated public financial resources to support payment of the registration fees to increase the number of patents registered by innovative project holders. And just to give you an idea of this new program, the number of patents registered in Algeria has almost doubled in 1 year. And now we believe that the payment of this patent is a true issue for most project holders, and we will be putting more money, more public money, to help people protect their projects and ideas, and to help innovative project holders, startups, to have like more patents on the way. And finally, we are also helping accelerators and incubators. We created our own accelerator called Algeria Venture, which is doing a fine job, and which is also a partner of this event. We are also helping private incubators. And just to give you an idea of the new incentives, the number of incubators in Algeria has almost the number went from 14 in 2020 to more than 50 this year. So we have a huge increase in the number of incubators, and they are doing a fine job. Many of them are helping startups in Algeria and even in the region, MENA region and the African region, to grow easier and to get the support needed for their growth. So what's next? And that will be my last slide. Dr. Bouache said the most important thing is what we are going to do. So I will again talk about KPIs. You know, in our ministry, we kind of work like startups because we are not, you know, we are 7 people in the ministry. So there is many misconception about ministries, especially in the room. People believe that ministries are big administration with a lot of bureaucrats and not very efficient people doing things that help no one. But at the ministry, the average age of my team, and I'm very proud of my team, is about 29. We are almost all from the private sector or also from the research sector. And we are doing our best to be a part of this ecosystem because we consider ourselves just as a part of ecosystem. Of course, this ecosystem includes also incubators, accelerators, funding partners, people, I call them enablers, like Dr. Snoussi, Dr. Bouache, and people that are putting their energy in the ecosystem. And our goal is to reach at least 4 unicorns by 2024. Our goal is also, as I said, to reach 3% of the GDP expenditure in R&D by 2030. Our goal is also to increase the number of newly created startups. Currently, we have like 4,000 startups that registered themselves in our startup.dz, and 1,000 of them got the label. Our goal is to double these numbers. Our goal is also to provide more money, more public money for them. And thanks to the work of the managing director of Adjusted Fund, we are allocating huge amounts of money. As of today, we are talking about something like $400 million. So, which is quite an interesting amount of money. You have to work hard to raise, because it is not an easy guy. Soon we will be also sharing new laws, because it is the best thing we can do as the bureaucrats. So the new public procurement law will make it easier for startups to access to public procurement. As I said, the new monetary law, which will open a world of possibilities. And there is something very important I wanted to announce today, and I will talk about it later. We will be also, with the help of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we will be launching a new platform called Talent Bridge by the end of this event. And the idea of this platform is to connect our talents abroad to Algeria and to help them to do projects, have logistics support for the projects in Algeria. Our goal is to have a database of our talents abroad, because we don't know all our talent. You know, in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, we discovered that we have an Algerian in all the countries of the world. Even in the very small countries in the world, we found at least 1, 2 Algerians. So Algerians are everywhere. And our goal is to have like a database of all those talents across the world who are doing incredible things in research and development, in private sector, in startups. So we want to have database, and we want to help them to do things in Algeria. And we will be starting this new initiative with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs by the end of this conference. So I think, as Dr. Bouache said, the most important thing is what we are going to do after the conference. And with this new platform, we are going to help all the people that came to Algeria to achieve their projects and to have things done in Algeria to work together to make the startup ecosystem better. So I think it is my last slide. Sorry for if I have been long. And as I said, this is the least interesting conference. The most interesting ones are coming. Thanks for your attention and a good day.
شكرا معالي الوزير، شكرا جزيلا لك.
Just one information, you know, one of our the master of conference MC, Salma Mouloudji, is also from our talents abroad, because she works at Meta in Dublin in Facebook actually, and she came in Algeria to. One of the reasons she came in Algeria is to host this event. So thanks, Salma.
شكرا لك سيد الوزير، شكرا على كل هذه الشروحات حول النظام البيئي للمؤسسات الناشئه وكل الاجراءات التحفيزيه التي تقدمها الدول الجزائريه من اجل تشجيع مناخ الاعمال الخاص بالمؤسسات والشركات الناشئه.